There is nothing in this world that ventures more military power than a mobile military airbase or a stealthy, silent killer that conveys enough for the following three less expensive countries. These are the most costly and complex weapons a country can have in its armory. However, their abilities would be restricted without atomic energy. Regardless, some are motivated by a reactor's capacity to work submerged for boundless time frames. Ability that is significant for a machine which is by definition should pass unseen. The main thing that restricts their perseverance is the supply of food, which at most lasts for only 19 days. Conventional power. Interestingly, ordinary subs are controlled by diesel-electric power, which needs oxygen to work. So they need to snorkel on surface for air to power up the diesel motor, which acts like a generator. It energizes these batteries, which power the electric engine to run the propeller. Basically, a conventional submarine is a hybrid vehicle. The issue is that when a subsurfaces or stays at swim, that it's vulnerable to enemies' attack. It tends to be recognized by radar, and also the diesel motors are noisy and the sonar can easily hear them. The record for the longest ever submerged transit without snorkeling for non-nuclear submarines is only 18 days, and it was established in 2013 by a Type 212 submarine of the German Navy, while it was heading to a naval exercise in the US waters. But it's not just for how long a subject is submerged is important. Also critical is the distance you can cover submerged. Once again, nuclear subs have the advantage because they can travel at greater rates for decades. For example, a US Navy Ohio-class submarine has the gross speed of 37 km per hour, which means that on a single load of supplies, he can make trips from New York to Liverpool multiple times or circumvent the world twice without having to service once, whereas a conventional sub can operate lowered for just several hundreds of kilometers. Conventional subs have to save power in their batteries. So, in complete submersion, they usually travel at the speed of only 8 km per hour. The faster they go, the faster the battery will discharge and the shorter the range will get. For instance, the Royal Australian Navy Collins class sub have a maximum speed of 39 km per hour in complete submersion. At that speed, their battery is less for a run of only 60 km when at 7.4 km per hour. Their operational range increases as much as 890 km. Nuclear. The constant high output of power delivered by reactors also make possible the construction of larger submarines. The Chinese King-class sub is the largest conventional submarine at 92.6 meters long, whereas the nuclear-class submarines are 170 meters long and the Typhoon-class subs are 175 meters long, so they are almost twofold. The distinction in size is important because these subs carry more capability, which alongside their speed and capability of extremely long deployment means that these boats can engage in more extensive range of missions. Carriers. The highlight of naval powers, nonetheless, is the aircraft carrier. At the present time, there are just 20 carriers out there, and 12 of them are nuclear powered. And simply like nuclear subs, they can also travel for a considerable length of time without refueling. Presently, if nuclear propulsion is a game changer for subs because it maximizes their lower operation range. For carriers, range has never been the huge of an issue. The conventional carriers like the HMS Queen Elizabeth of the Royal Navy can travel as much as 19,000 kilometers without refueling. Yet, in contrast to a conventional carrier, a nuclear one doesn't have to carry petroleum product on board because the reactors give enough power for 20 to 25 years. This means the nuclear propulsion of frameworks require less space, so the boat has more storage room available for extra aviation fuels or other high-value products than a conventional carrier of the same size and capacity. On Nimitz class carriers, there's 90% more aviation fuel and half more ordnance than a Forester class carrier, and the two classes have the similar size their wings. Basically, this extra space makes a nuclear carrier capable of conveying more impact as more aircrafts can be launched from its deck. The fact that reactors don't have to be refueled for decades also reduces the logistical efforts required to operate such a ship. In general, US carrier strike group consists of two guided missile destroyers, a guided missile cruiser, a nuclear attack submarine, and the support ship. The support ship doesn't have any offensive or defensive roles. Instead, it goes from port to port to get supplies for the group. And since the carrier and the sub don't have to be refueled, there's more fuel on the support group to go around for the other ships of the group, which do not need fossil fuel to operate. So, the carrier strike group can stay on the prime on for long periods of time, which is a major strategic advantage while being less dependent on the foreign oil. The downside of nuclear propulsion is that it's extremely expensive. For example, with the price of a single nuclear sub, you can buy 4 conventional powered. Complexity. Then there's the complexity of building a nuclear vessel. It requires specialized shipyards that have the capacity and capability of putting together such a ship safely and in timely manner. For example, France's Charles de Gaulle nuclear carrier took more than 11 years to complete. Both her delivery was 5 years per schedule, so by that time, she had already become a financial black hole, full of technical issues. And then, at the end of their life cycle, these ships, just as any other, are decommissioned, but scrapping a nuclear vessel is a headache. This process also requires dedicated disposal facilities, and then the reactors have to be stored in a remote location, far away from populated areas. For example, the US Navy dismantles the ships here and then ships the reactor to have for the mobilization plant to store them. So, the whole process is slow and costly. Still, the advantages of marine nuclear power plants are unparalleled. However, their place may be taken by hybrid technology, which even though is also complex, but is easier and safer to operate.